into media storage master window. So I go to, I go here, and then I have CG14. So what I'm going to do is grab that. And then at the bottom left, I have this app called Yoink, which you just drop it. You drop things onto this little Yoink window, and it kind of holds them there. So then you can let go of the mouse and all that stuff, and you can just go over to, wherever you need to be to work with that file. So I'm going to drag that folder from Yoink into, actually, I guess I could go into here. Yeah, there we go. I was going to drop it in a media pool, but I don't think it matters. Drag screen share file into timelines. So let me see which one's the screen share. That's this one. So I'm going to drag it into the timeline. Then I drag this one in here. And let me resize things so we can see both audio tracks. And then that's interesting. It looks like it skipped audio 1 and just went to audio 2. I don't know why, but I'm also not used to using this resolution. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to follow my notes. Drag screen share, drag camera, transcribe. I don't transcribe the audio from the screen share. Switch to the edit page. We drag clips in. We already did that. Select all and auto align the audio clips. Okay, so yeah, Misha uses a camera, and it saves to an SD card, and it's got its own audio that it records, but the audio from the camera is not very good. For the good audio, he uses his microphone that's connected to his computer. So when I get these tracks, I have to sync up those audio tracks and then get rid of the camera one. So I'm going to do is select all, right click, and choose auto align clips. Waveform, use track number 1. I'm going to change that to automatic because 1 is not there. So I could have chose 2 or 3, but I just do automatic. Okay, and then in my notes, what I have here is delete audio to, or the camera audio, once confirm the audio is synced properly. So what I need to do is listen to it and make sure that it actually is synced properly.
Start recording on OBS. Check, check. We are running. I can see my screen. Yes.
Okay. So it seems like it's synced to me, but here's how I double check it. So I play the audio, and then I toggle the mute track on and off between the two, and it should be a seamless experience between when I do that. So let's listen.
When you're starting to learn Kubernetes, it's super important to start building projects that are actually tangible, that do something, that create something, that are useful, because that is what makes learning.
Yeah, so that sounds good. So when I muted this bottom track, audio 3, you could tell that all of a sudden the audio sounded a lot better. It just needs to be boosted.
Fun.
So let's.
I see too many courses.
There we go. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this track, delete track, and then what we're going to do next is select the remaining audio track, and we're going to normalize the audio to YouTube. So what I'm going to do is click on that and right click, normalize audio levels, YouTube, normalize, and then it's going to process it and watch. Now these are going to get a lot bigger and louder. There we go. So now,
when you're starting to learn Kubernetes, it's super important to start building projects that are actually tangible.
Okay, there we go. So that sounds good. Change screen share track to orange, just to kind of give it a make it distinct so I can know which one I'm working with. And those are going to be blue up there, the cam and the screen recording. Now these tracks don't really make sense anymore. That's why I was saying in the beginning is that I think I was trying to say is that my template is based on like an older way I was editing these videos. And so these tracks, I need to update them. But for now, what I'm going to just do is delete that track. I'm going to rename this one to screen. I'm going to rename this one to face. I'm going to leave these other tracks here. Audio 1, audio 2. I'm just going to get rid of audio, and I'm going to call this Misha audio. There we go. That makes a little more sense. Change screen share. We did that. Okay, so here's the new thing that I've added to my editing process. In the last few weeks or month or so is webcam. Makes things so much easier than the way I was doing it before. So for webcam, I have, I'm going to go to my effects and I have favorites. And then, so you can see here under editor collection, I have webcam, which as I scroll over it, you see how it puts Misha in the corner there, which is great. But I have a little, like a light blue or cyan border that I put around Misha to match his logo of his school, CubeCraft. And I quickly grew tired of having to recreate that every time I added or worked on a new project. And so the nice thing is that the person who created the whip collection and all that, I can't remember his name. Like, I don't know. I don't even know his name. Is his name Whip or something? But he made a thing called Whip Remacro, which allows you to take something that you've configured and save it. So up here under custom tools, you can see I've got this little picture of Misha with a blue outline, and then it's called, I called it Whipcam Misha template. And as you can see now, if I scrub over that, there's Misha in the corner with a blue outline. So I don't have to recreate that every time now. So I'm going to grab that effect. I'm going to drop it on his track. And now it's
recording on to learn Kubernetes. It's super important to start.
Now he's automatically in the corner. So that works well. Duplicate timeline to V2. So now that I got all this set up here, I'm gonna rename this to CGV. Where's my? Hi. Oh, hang on. Wait, don't go past here, okay? Because we're on camera. We don't want you to be on camera. What do you need?
Can you open this?
Sure. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. These are hard to open. Boy.
Hello?
That's the dragon.
You still have your pet dragon?
Of course I do. He's my protector.
He protects your room.
Yeah, he protects me and my room.
So whenever a bad guy comes near your dragon, rolls at him and he runs
That's
away.
right, and that's why there's no bad guys in here.
Because bad guys are actually real.
That's right, they are.
Because my friend Abigail told me that this old guy took a picture of her when she was playing jump rope in her front yard.
Oh, wow. Okay, one more. Purple. There we go. Okay, got it. Okay, be careful not to spill those now.
Okay.
They're already starting to spill. Okay, where was I? Oh, I'm renaming this track to. Well, now why can't I? I can't see my cursor for some reason. So CGV 14 underscore V1. So that's our current one. So now that I've kind of laid this foundation, I got my tracks in order. I've applied the webcam and all that stuff. I kind of lock in that timeline. So what I'm going to do now is duplicate it, switch to it, and then call this V2. And this is where we'll start. So I'm going to go here. Okay, now I do the things like configure my environment so that I don't have like choppy editing and stuff like that. So, I do prefer proxies, change timeline playback resolution to quarter. Actually, I'm going to change that to half. Not that this much matters, but to half. Oop, I don't know what the heck happened there. That was weird. Okay. And then change render cache to smart. And then I perform my rough cut. So let's just do those three things. So up here, I change this to prefer proxies. Under playback, I change this resolution to half. And then render cache, we make smart. And now I'm going to, and then I save it. So now I'm using Blackmagic Design Cloud. So when I choose save, it's asking me what's the name. So CGV14. Where's the location? I'm going to put this in CubeCraft. I don't think I need to put a folder here. Allow multiple users, that's fine, but it's just me. Sync proxies only. So I've been waffling back and forth on this, like sync proxies only, because right now I'm on Wi-Fi network. I got to string up my Ethernet cable now that I moved to a new room in my house. But so I've been not doing syncing proxies and originals because I'm really just working on this computer, and originals just takes a lot of time to upload to the cloud. So I'm just going to do proxies only, and I don't need a remote camera. I'm going to hit save, and I think we're good. And then if I look at my cloud settings down here, waiting to generate proxy. So I imagine it's going to start making those proxies soon. I don't know. Okay, let me see my notes. I think we're good. Prefer this. And then I do my rough cut. So, and then down here, post checklist, this will come in later towards the end when I'm making sure I've included everything. So I don't always add Misha's name and title, but sometimes I do if it's appropriate. Making sure I add the like and subscribe at some point in the video. And then making sure I add his branding for his CubeCraft school. So this is just kind of my way to remember those things. Okay, with all that said, let me see. Does this look like it's still... Oh, hey. Hey, Noah. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Checklist keeps me in line. Yeah, hey, thanks for dropping in. Okay, so now I've got my foundation laid. So now what I do basically is I just start in on it, and I'm gonna hit play.
Start recording on OBS. Check. We are
Look for the
running.
intro to start with.
Yes. When you're starting to learn Kubernetes, it's super important.
Okay, so we got our beginning here. He may start over again at a certain point, but I'm just going to go here. I'm going to split. Delete that.
When you're starting to learn Kubernetes, it's super important to start building projects that are actually tangible, that do something, that create something, that are useful, because that is what makes learning fun. I see too many courses go wrong where so many courses on the internet do it wrong because they just make you deploy a random Nginx pod or a BusyBox pod.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, so he kind of started over there. So what I'm
You're
going to
starting
do,
to learn Kubernetes.
is just kind of find the natural endpoint of the beginning, and then switch his camera to full on that one.
It's super important to start building projects that are actually tangible, that do something, that create something, that are useful, because that is what makes learning fun.
Okay, so this might be my natural endpoint for the intro. So I'm gonna split that. And then this is the thing with webcam that I've learned. There's a couple of ways you can deal with a webcam and removing it. So like for this first segment here, I don't want him to be in the corner. I want him to be full screen. So I could either toggle this little dial or whatever that thing is called, and that just turns off the effect, and the effect is still there. So if I wanted to, I can go back and turn it back on, and that's the way I normally do it. Although the person who made the webcam template in one of his tutorial videos, he talks about how he likes to just get rid of the effect, and then if he needs to reapply it at some point, then he'll hit Option V or Alt V to paste attributes, and then he'll just copy the attributes from another section. So I don't know, I might try that at some point, but for right now, I'm just going to stick to my typical way of turning off the effect.
Useful, because that is what makes learning fun. I see too many courses go wrong where they will. So many courses on.
Okay, so we got our thing problem right there. So I'm gonna do, this is also one of the newer things I've added to my editing process, is some of these keyboard shortcuts that I've remapped. So as long as no track is selected, which I just click anywhere outside of a track right now, I should be able to hit Q, and that will delete everything from my playhead back to where this split is. So let's try it. Yep, and there we go. And then I usually just back it up a touch with the J key to make sure that that sounds good.
Is what makes learning fun. So many courses on the internet do it wrong because they just make you deploy a random Nginx pod or a BusyBox pod that doesn't do anything, and that doesn't give you any of the fun reinforcement learning that you should have when you're learning a new skill. So I designed my learning materials differently, and I'm going to be starting a series of videos where we're going to be deploying fun beginner applications on a beginner level. So in this video, we're going to be deploying LinkedIn. LinkedIn is
Cool. So we're going to be doing LinkedIn here.
LinkedIn.
And I didn't even know the actual topic because these are all just called CGV 14, and I don't really know what it is until I dive in. Although Misha does leave some notes, but oftentimes I forget what the notes are, and so I should really be better about reviewing those. But what I'm seeing now is that, so that was the entire intro. So I'm gonna split here. I'm gonna go and take off the webcam for that too, and that way
learning fun. So many courses on the internet do it wrong because they just.
Okay, so we've got him full face.
So in this video, we're going to be deploying LinkedIn.
Okay, so I'm also gonna put a marker here. I'm just gonna, oops, I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna just type LinkedIn. I might put whenever he says something of note, I add a marker because I might want to add some B-roll or something at some point.
LinkedIn is a bookmark manager, a self-hosted bookmark manager, which I've been using for well over a year now, and which is working super well for me. It is very simple, and what you can do is you just surf around, then you have your browser extension, and you add your LinkedIn bookmark to it, or you can add a bookmark here, and I can add my school community here, for example, save it. Oh, it's already bookmarked.
Unfortunately, I got a lot of choppiness going on. Sometimes I find if I change it to full, it actually helps resolve some of that choppiness. But I think just the proxies need to generate and all that stuff right now, and that's why it's a little bit choppy.
You can just
Yeah, so that's not working well. I can maybe even change this to quarter for now and see if that helps.
it's already bookmarked, but you can just
Okay, so here I've got a big stretch where he's not doing anything, so I'm going to cut this out.
it's already bookmarked, but you can just
Okay, split there. Let's go over here.
So I've been running LinkedIn for well over a year now.
Okay, so he starts over here.
So I've been running LinkedIn.
I've been running LinkedIn, so I'm gonna split that. Let's see how far back I have to go to.
LinkedIn is a bookmark manager, a self-hosted bookmark manager, which I've been using for well over a year now, and which is working super well for me.
So I've been using for well over a year now.
So I've been running LinkedIn for well over a year now. It's running on my Kubernetes home lab cluster.
So I think I can get rid of this whole section.
In this video, we're going to be deploying LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a bookmark manager, a self-hosted bookmark manager, which I've been using for well over a year.
So which I've been using well over. So here he gives the intro. I think this is where I'm going to split it, because if he goes...
LinkedIn is a bookmark manager, a self-hosted bookmark manager. So I've been running LinkedIn for well over a year now. It's running on my Kubernetes home lab cluster, and it's available from the internet on my own domain. And it is a super simple, well done application where you can you have a browser extension for it, you have a CLI for it. And if I just want to add my KubeCraft DevOps community to my bookmarks, I just click add bookmark, add the URL, and then it gets the description, everything. So it's saved. And then here you go, here's my LinkedIn bookmark. Now this is great because I tend to switch browsers.
So I want to listen to a little more, but I'm a little bit unsure if I want to get rid of this whole section here, or if I want to keep that part about it being self-hosted.
Deploying LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a bookmark manager, a self-hosted bookmark manager.
So that's good to saying it's a self-hosted bookmark manager. And then he goes in over here, starts talking about how long he's been using it and how it works.
So I've been running LinkedIn for well over a year.
So let's just make sure that I can get rid of this.
Using for well over a year now, and which is working super well for me. It is very simple, and what you can do is you just surf around, then you have your browser extension, and you add your LinkedIn bookmark to it, or you can add a bookmark here, and I can add my school community here, for example, save it. Oh, it's already bookmarked, but you can just... So I've been running LinkedIn.
Okay, so now I want to get rid of this part. I'm going to put a note here.
LinkedIn is
that I might want to consider removing this section. I don't know. I'm going to just leave it in for now.
I've been running LinkedIn for well over a year now. It's running on my Kubernetes home lab cluster, and it's available from the internet on my own domain. And it is a super simple, well-done application where you have a browser extension for it, you have a CLI for it, and if I just want to add my KubeCraft DevOps community to my bookmarks, I just click add bookmark, add the URL, and then it gets the description, everything, so it's saved, and then here you go, here's my LinkedIn bookmark. Now this is great because I tend to...
Okay, so already I can see here, these are things I watch out for, and I want to switch to full face cam because he's looking at the camera, and I used to add a marker for this to say, zoom in on his face, and then I would go back and try to batch that process. But then I found that if I just kind of do it in real time,
here's my LinkedIn bookmark.
It just gets it done quicker, basically. So I'm gonna split here.
Now this is great because I tend to switch browsers a lot, especially...
I'm gonna also see if my playback, it's just kind of too blurry for me. Let's go to half, see if this works better.
With what's going on with Firefox recently. So I'm now back on Vivaldi, and I didn't have to export and import my bookmarks all the time. And when I'm visiting a friend and I can just open my phone, navigate to my LinkedIn, and just share a bookmark that I wanted to recommend to him, for example.
Okay, so I guess he's starting to look down now, so I'm probably gonna split it here. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go to the clip, effects, turn off webcam. Then I like to go and just make sure that that's a good edit right there and just do it in a moment.
LinkedIn bookmark. Now this is great because I tend to switch browsers
That
a lot.
looks good.
I wanted to recommend to him, for example.
And
Plus,
I
you
like
can-
that. So that's kind of my style, is that as he starts to look down, I leave that in the full frame face cam view for a moment as he looks down, and then I transition.
Navigate to my LinkedIn and just share a bookmark that I wanted to recommend to him, for example. Plus, you can
Yeah, that looks good.
search your bookmarks. I think I have some bookmarks around tents. Well, here we have some. Well, didn't have my tent. Well, here's like a alternate.
And then if I go from there to here.
Last camping season, I know I stored it.
Yeah, I think that's what I want.
Example. Plus, you can search your bookmarks. I think I have some bookmarks around tents. Last camping season, I know I.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this.
I browse bookmarks all the time. And when I'm visiting a friend and I can just open my phone, navigate to my LinkedIn and just share a bookmark that I wanted to recommend to him, for example. Last camping season, I know I stored a tent here, and if I just click on the tent bookmark, then oh yeah, here it is. This is the tent that I was planning to get this year. So it's super useful that this is now stored on my home lab cluster separately, and I can just switch browsers. And it's just fun to have your own self-hosted application. So LinkedIn is great for this. In this video, we're going to be learning how to deploy this on Kubernetes. So I have a K3D Kubernetes.
So I think I might switch to full screen here.
So LinkedIn is great for this. In this video, we're
right there. Okay, I'm gonna split.
going to be learning how to deploy this on Kubernetes.
Okay, and then we'll split there. It's a short little switch, but I think it'll look good.
So LinkedIn is great for this. In this video, we're going to be learning how to deploy this on Kubernetes. So I have a K3D Kubernetes cluster running in a container, and I will make videos in the future about K3D, but what you should have is Rancher Desktop. I recommend that to.
Okay, so we got face cam again.
3D Kubernetes cluster running in a container, and I will make videos in the future about K3D, but what you should have.
Okay, split here.
Is Rancher Desktop. I recommend that to run.
And then I'm just gonna
desktop.
make a mark here for Rancher Desktop.
I recommend that to run your first Kubernetes cluster. I have a video on that on my channel that you can find when you search for Rancher Desktop on my channel, and or just any old Kubernetes cluster that you have access to. That's all you need for this tutorial.
Okay, let's split there. Let's turn off cam.
But what you should have is Rancher Desktop. I recommend you have access to. That's all you need for this tutorial. So LinkedIn runs in a container, but they don't necessarily include Kubernetes instructions. They'll have Docker instructions, but they won't show you how to run it on Kubernetes. And this is why these self-hosted applications are such a fun challenge, because they usually don't have Helm charts and they don't have instructions for Kubernetes.
Okay, we got some more full face cam.
But they won't show you how to run it on Kubernetes. And this is why
split.
These self-hosted applications are such a fun challenge, because they usually don't have Helm charts and they don't have instructions for Kubernetes. And this is why it's so much fun to do it yourself.
And we'll split there. Turn off webcam, make sure it looks good.
But they won't show you how to run it on Kubernetes. And this is why these self-hosted applications are such a fun challenge, because they usually don't have Helm charts and they don't have instructions for Kubernetes. And this is why it's so fun to do it yourself. So when you have your Kubernetes cluster up and running, then we can start by setting up the application as a deployment. Now I have prepared some YAML here, and I can go to my application here. First of all, let's just create our namespace. So I will create ns LinkedIn, and if I do OK, get ns. Now I have my LinkedIn namespace. Now I want to be able to do everything in the LinkedIn namespace without having to specify the namespace all the time. So what I will write is the kconfig set context namespace LinkedIn. So if I do get pods now, it will say no resources found in the LinkedIn namespace. So anything I'm going to be doing, applying, is going to be happening in the LinkedIn namespace, which is a great little tip. And I'm going to create a new deployment.yaml file. Oops. And then I'm going to copy over the YAML that I have prepared, paste that in. Here we go. This is the YAML file. So let's walk through this. I have my API version 1. Kind is deployment. We're not doing it as a separate pod because we maybe want to scale it up later. The name.
Okay, so
To copy over the YAML that I have prepared, paste that in. Here we go. This is the YAML file.
So here, I'm going to just take a note for myself. Consider zooming in on YAML.
So let's walk through this. I have my API.
So I know it's just a marker, but since I'm doing a live here, what I would do later on when I come back to this marker, let's just do it now, is I would go to effects, and I have favorites, and I've got magnify. I could do magnify or zoom. They both have their own things. There's also another kind of effect that I might consider, but let me see. Let's try magnify. So I'm going to drop magnify here.
So let's walk through this.
Okay, and then let me stretch this out.
I'm running it in one.
Okay, and so we don't want a circle, we want a rectangle. And then we got to turn on Fusion Overlay. And then we want to stretch this out. I don't know if this is the effect I want or not, but I'm just going to try. Yeah, I don't think this is what I want, because I could position this, but I found that when the things are up against the edge, the magnify is kind of a bear to work with. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try the zoom.
Here we go. This is the YAML file. So let's walk through this.
Okay. And for this, I'm just going to move this up here to maybe like that. Let's see how that looks.
That in. Here we go. This is the YAML file. So let's walk through this. I have my API version.
Okay, I kind of like that. I got to see what it looks like throughout the segment though.
Version 1. Kind is deployment. We're not doing it as a separate pod because we maybe want to scale it up later. The name of the deployment is LinkedIn, and we're going to be running it in one replica. Now, the label of the application is going to be LinkedIn, and then we define the container that we're going to run. I'm calling this LinkedIn, and the image is sysbroker LinkedIn 139.1.
Okay, so I don't like that it's being cut off at the bottom there, so I'm going to try to adjust for that.
Now, in order to...
And then he jumps here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can start size, end size, pivot. Yeah, there we go. End size. I don't like that it's got the little corner of his camera there. So maybe I'll move this over. But yeah, that's okay. All right, I think that looks all right. So
this is the YAML file. So let's walk through this. I have my API version 1.
Okay, that looks good.
And then we
because I want to cut it here.
Now.
Okay, so just going to back it up a little bit. Okay, right there. Look at my snap doesn't seem to be on. There we go. There we go.
LinkedIn 139.1. Now, in order to find the latest version, because I did that mistake intentionally, you can go to the GitHub repo, Sysbroker LinkedIn, and then you check out the releases here. And now here we see that actually the latest version is 39.1. So I'm going to change this and I'm going to get the latest version. And then finally, there's this block called container port here. So this means that I'm exposing LinkedIn on port 1990. The container port, so the port that the container is going to expose is port 1990. And this is important when we're going to do port forwarding afterwards. So if I now apply this, k apply f deploy.yaml, now my deployment of LinkedIn is created. So let's check out k get pods. Yes, it's already running. So if I describe that pod, we see that everything has worked well. It has started. It has no volumes. We're going to get into that a little bit later. And there is nothing, there are no failed events or anything like that in the pod, which is
Okay, so I think I'm actually running out of time for this edit. So I'm going to save that. And then let me just do, this is yeah, I'm not even halfway through. So I think I'm going to split this into 2 or 3 different sessions. But I think for now, that's going to be it for this edit. I hope you enjoyed that. And it was fun learning how to do some live streaming on YouTube. I'm using OBS to do that. And I've had to figure out a few things just to get the audio working and all that. I have to quit my sound source app for some reason, because then I can't use my volume control knob on my keyboard. So, you know, just little things like that. But I think I'm dialing in on it so that when I want to do a live edit like this, I should be only a couple clicks away. So anybody who watched this from the beginning, thanks for bearing with me. And I'll see you in the next live edit.